Welcome, everyone, to another Wednesday night Fundamentals to Gain Inner Peace with your host, Coach Menachem. And tonight we're doing week number 7. And it's really amazing. You're still with us, doing the work, which is beautiful. And keep it up, the breathing, the reading, and whatever comes up. Okay, before we start, let's get grounded. Take a minute or two just to be. Take a deep breath. You can put both of your feet on the floor. Just feel grounded, breathing in and out, becoming aware of where you are, the room you're in, your environment. And then turning inwards to feel. How do I feel? What do I feel? Turning inwards to our bodies to see, connect to my body. See, what do I feel? And if this is the first time you're here, welcome. And it does take time. It does take time to learn how to turn inwards to connect to our body. And that's a lot of the work that we're doing in this 10-week course. Learning to be in touch, connect to ourselves and the feelings that we have. Okay, so we're doing week number 7. So first, let's see how we are in the past few weeks or last week. How did it go? Integrating charged emotion. Last week, the conscious response, I integrate charged emotion. The process that we're aware of what we feel, we're aware of what makes us feel that way, the messenger. And instead of blaming everything outside of us, we turn inwards and we see how we feel. What do I feel? What does it bring up for me? And slowly we become closer to ourselves, not so busy with the world around us. And now continuing week number 7. I don't know if you saw the book. Week number 7, we're starting something new, going a little bit deeper. We'll talk about it for a few minutes. It's about taking a warm bath or a shower to help us to become more relaxed and more calm. Takes us to the next level. So I'm just going to go through just a few concepts about the idea of taking a bath or a shower, and then we'll get to week number 7. So for week 7, 8, and 9, really, you only have to do it once. You could do it the first time when you start week number 7, or once every week, the beginning of the week, or if you can't do it right away, you can do it, a day or two later. But the idea is once a week, a warm bath for 15 minutes. And if it can't be a bath, it could be a shower. Just relaxing for 15 minutes. And that also brings up things, it's not always easy to stay in a warm bath for so long. And then you become aware of what it brings up. You don't do the breathing in the bath. Bath is you just sit there. You just observe whatever it brings up. And the breathing is later, afterwards. But while you're in that bath, you can also become aware of your feelings, physical thoughts, different experiences become activated. So the few things that it says, number 1 is 24 hours before that bath, drink water, just make sure you're hydrated. The water shouldn't be too hot, it should be warm, it should be comfortable. Don't push yourself for anything, comfortable bath, comfortable shower, enjoy it. And the shower is at the bath, you can cover yourself, till your face, just be inside the bath. And if it's a shower, make it go on your heart so your heart can warm up a little bit and stay there for 50 minutes. It could become hard could become challenging. And, for healthy people, when it becomes a challenge, we say it's okay. When these things come up and we get scared and these ideas and thoughts, you're okay. However, if somebody is older and has some health issues, then it is recommended to have someone there. Don't do it yourself. And if you're really not sure, you can always ask your doctor if it's okay. But the idea for somebody that's healthy, nothing, you're okay. And then these things that come up and it becomes a challenge, that's part of thoughts, feelings that we have. So this is part of it. We push through, we're okay. Just relax, take a deep breath. So the main thing is we don't force anything. Just enjoy it. And that's about it for the next 3 weeks, at least once. If you enjoy it, you like it, do it more times, it's okay. And then when you're done, you dry yourself, you can get dressed, and basically right afterwards, you can do the 15-minute breathing. And that helps to get to the next level a little bit deeper. So that's basic. If you want, you can read in the book, just the ideas of how to, the bath, the warm bath or the warm shower. So now we're starting week number 7. The conscious response is, I feel safe now. What does that bring up when you hear those words? I feel safe now. And basically, now after all the work that we've done past 6 weeks, it is connecting to yourself or that inner child, whatever it is, to feel safe and to feel. It's okay to feel safe. Just a second. Here we are. I feel safe. And the reading, in the reading, there's 2 parts. Number 1 is embracing physical presence. And number 2 is feeling our way through. So let's discuss both of the things, both ideas, which is very interesting. And basically with the work that we've done the past few weeks, we're becoming more aware of our feelings, whether it's physical, aware of our thoughts, and we become aware of the things that sometimes make us uncomfortable while you're breathing, many times things come up and you continue breathing. Again, I want to mention all those who sent feedback. Thank you very much. And it's interesting to see how the body releases, by doing the breathing, by being aware of those feelings. The body releases whatever it is. We don't have to know what it is, but it releases emotions. And many people shared that they see differences in their day, the way they feel. Sometimes it does bring up negativity, irritation with other people. And that's also something to become aware. We become aware and then we do the process. Instead of pointing fingers, you become aware of the emotion, where you feel it, turn inwards and you just feel and breathe, see what it brings up, and then you eventually let it go. And that means you're becoming in control instead of reacting. Every time you want to say something, every time something comes up, somebody bothers you, somebody does something you don't like, instead of right away reacting, we're in control. We understand, we're there, we breathe, we don't run away, and then we respond. The response can be different every time. Keeping quiet is a response. If that's what you choose, then it's a response. But you're in control. We're not scared of that emotion. We can sit with it. So that's embracing physical presence. We become aware of our physical body, of how we feel. We come back home to ourselves. And he calls it like living in time, like what happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future. So we all have stories about ourselves based on past experience. We have stories about ourselves, we have beliefs, the way we look at ourselves, and we discuss the patterns. When this happens, this is the way I respond. I get angry. We have these patterns, all based on our past experiences. So, but when we learn to do the breathing, come back to the moment, in the moment, you become in touch with yourself. So slowly we let go of all of those stories. We let go of the ideas that we attach to the feeling. And we become present, physically present, and we let it be. Just the way I feel, unconditional, just feel. Maybe till now you were telling yourself because, and I feel this way because of that, and this. And now we go away from those stories, we let go of those stories, and we let ourselves feel. Whatever the feeling comes up, whatever it is. And that's really like a child, the emotions, spontaneous. They can be jumping or they can be crying. There's no stories to it. It just happens. They live in the moment. When they're excited, you can tell they're excited. When they're not, you can tell they're not. There's no ideas attached to it. Little kids, they're just 1 minute to the next. Just from, creative, letting things be. So we're connecting to that inner child again. Once we become adults, we have stories attached to all our feelings and the way we look at ourselves based on the past experiences. But if we connect to that inner child without any stories, it just is. So that's what happens when you do this work, the breathing, the reading, we become aware in the present moment, and slowly we let go of our stories. We let them go. So let me give you an example. So here's this girl. We'll give her a name. We'll call her Chedva. Okay? Chedva grows up in a family where there's a lot of conflict, turmoil, parents fighting, and just this Chedva feels unsafe and anxious. That's how she feels when she's home. So to cope, what does she do? She learned how to disassociate with her emotions. She leaves, not physically, but she leaves the environment. What does she do? She starts going into her imaginations, starts daydreaming. They disassociate. And kids can do that when you scream at them. Sometimes you could be screaming at a child and the child is there and he's like frozen, freezes and listens. And you think he's listening, but really he's gone. He's busy thinking about other things because it's too hard for him to be there. It's too painful to experience that moment. So they disassociate, everybody in a different way. You can, start daydreaming. and living in your fantasy world, total different place. You're not where you are. You're not in the present moment. You're somewhere else. So you have here chedva. Situation at home is not so simple. It's painful. So she gets used to not being there. She's not there, even though physically she is there. You can see her reading a lot, maybe playing video games, just to disconnect. Anything not to have to be there and experience what she feels. And it works. It can help for many years. And then disassociates, you're not in touch with what you're feeling. And rightfully so, you understand why. It's so hard for a young child not to be able to make sense of what's going on. So they have to let go. They can't feel those emotions and to protect themselves. That's what she does. Now growing, getting older, she got used to that habit of disassociating. She's not aware, not in touch. If you ask her personal questions, we become very self-conscious, or they don't want to talk about it. They're busy with other people, busy with the world, but not about myself. And then they could avoid dealing with other people. They avoid dealing with themselves, with their own emotions, because they don't know how. It's too painful. They've never been there. They don't want to be there. So that's where we shut down with our emotions, shut it down. So now coming back, doing the work and coming back to our own body, if you're going to take her and ask her personal questions, or sitting and breathing 50 minutes can be very hard, because that's where the emotions come up, these emotions that haven't been touched in a while. So it's a question to ask ourselves, not everybody is aware of what went through. It doesn't have to be anything major, but it's going through difficult situations when you're younger. And maybe there was a reason that you shut yourself down from your emotions. And now when we talk about it, it becomes very uncomfortable. And that's really the inner child that we're discussing. So I know for many of you, it's work to understand what the inner child is. And somebody shared, which was amazing, they started writing a letter to their inner child. They didn't really understand it, but they started writing. And all they wrote was "Dear" and their name. And a wave of sadness came right over them. It's like they felt so sad. And they stopped, and that's okay. It's okay. It's like, yes, you just met your inner child. It's becoming personal to yourself, becoming in touch with yourself and saying, Chedva, how are you? Oh, nobody ever spoke to me the past 25 years. I never spoke to myself, and now you're talking to me, writing yourself a letter. It could bring up these emotions. It brings up that personal touch, that inner child. I was dealing with a boy, a 12-year-old. And in the beginning, the first few times I saw him, he was running around the room, talking, jumping. He looked excited, but he couldn't sit straight. Couldn't sit on a chair, and he was like in and out, going up and down. So I'm sitting there, which this is what I do, just sit and listen. And just listening to his story, whatever he has to say, talking about this from one thing to the next, and back and forth, asking him questions and letting him do what he does. And it was interesting, after a few sessions, slowly, he was able to sit down, calm down, and slow down. He was able to talk slower, talk about, whatever was going on. And I'm just experiencing that change. Again, what exactly this child is going through, I don't know. Sometimes they feel threatened. They don't feel comfortable. And the only way they can continue is by just jumping around and being busy. Because sitting down and talking to someone, having eye contact is not easy. It's you're talking, and things can come up. So that was a very interesting observation that I had. And doesn't have to be kids, many times adults. It's just very hard to just relax, calm down, take a deep breath, and talk to yourself, to the person that's there. It becomes personal, and not always is it easy. So that's what it means to connect to yourself, to be there, to feel. So that's the first, just a second, let me see the second reading. Okay, that was the first part of the reading. And now we're going to go to the second part, just interesting idea, and I hope you read it in the book, but just to see, very interesting idea. I'm going to read a few lines. So, as we proceed from week 7 towards week 10, it's useful to hold the following knowing in the forefront of our awareness. Now listen to this, it's amazing and I love it. So this is what you're going to tell yourself. Right now, as we move deeper into an awareness of an authentic condition of our emotional body, experiencing a sense of mental confusion is beneficial. What does that sound like? If you feel a confusion, mental confusion, you can't make sense out of things, that's beneficial. Sounds interesting. But here we are, we're moving from our stories, from our mental ideas, from our thoughts. We always try to make sense of the things that are going on around us. Try to figure ourselves out with our logic, with our mental. But here, with the work that we're doing, is we're letting go of those conditions, those ideas. And we're moving towards our body, towards that feeling. So the more you can connect to your feelings and not trying to figure out, why do I feel this way? You might feel a little confusion, that mental confusion, because till now you worked mentally trying to figure things out. But now we're moving away from that. We're tapping into our feelings and we're okay with that. So if you feel confusion, amazing, that means it's working. So you're right, it's a sign of progress, indication that the mental body has taken us as far as it can go. It's like the mental body hit a wall. That's it. There's only so much the mental body could understand. And now we're going into our emotional body. So confusion serves us. Some people don't like that. What am I going to do when I'm confused? How am I going to, I don't know. What am I going to do? Nothing. Just continue breathing, relax. It's okay. So we avoid indulging in unnecessary drama that our mind has done till now. And we go into our body and we start feeling whatever the feeling comes up. We don't have to understand why. It's unconditional. Just feel. And there's nothing wrong when you feel confused. Nothing wrong. It's okay. So that's an interesting concept. It really takes us, that change of taking us from where we're used to being the past many years, understanding life, understanding ourselves, understanding the world around us. And sometimes we get confused because we don't understand. We try to make sense out of everything. And then when we feel these emotions, which can be so scary, we try to figure out, why do I feel this way? What do I feel? What does it mean? we're going past that. We're connecting to our body, connecting to our physical body, emotions, whatever feelings we have, the emotions that we have. And if you don't understand it, you feel confused, keep on breathing. Keep on breathing. So that's that second part of the reading. Enjoy it. And again, you'll start with the bath, a warm shower, 15 minutes. Make sure it's comfortable and safe. And then after that, you get dressed, find a comfortable place, and do the 50-minute breathing. And let's see where it takes you. A little bit deeper, more connected to our body. And we continue on this journey. We're almost done. You're doing great. Keep it up with the breathing, with the reading, the conscious response. I feel safe now. That's this week's conscious response. I feel safe now. Even if I'm confused, even if emotions come up, I feel safe. Beautiful. That's it for tonight. We'll take a minute or two for questions if you have. And then we'll see you next week on Wednesday night. You can raise your hand if you have any questions, or you can put them in the chat. Shulam Greenswag, I see you raising your hand. If you could put the question in the chat, that would make it a little bit easier. Thank you so much. Okay, let me see if there's any questions. Not so religious with the breathing. Okay, that's normal. So the breathing, again, I don't know if anybody, if you manage to do it twice a day, every day, 50 minutes, I know it's a struggle. But like I say, we're committed and we're continuing. That means even if you find yourself that you didn't do it for a day or two, your mind might say, this work is not for me, it's not working because I'm not doing the work. But I'm here to tell you, no, we continue. And that's part of the work, it's part of the process. It's okay. Try to do it, continue doing it, find time to do it, and even if you missed, it's okay. If you can't do the full 50 minutes, once in a while, you do it less, it's also okay, even though in the book it says that this is something you have to stick to. And yes, if you can, beautiful. Ideally, ultimately, I'm saying, yeah, but it's you become aware of how you work. You become aware of the excuses, you become aware of why you can't do it, more than 7 minutes. Now you're going to try to push through to 15 because we're doing, when things are uncomfortable, it's a challenge, we're pushing through. But even if you haven't pushed through, that doesn't mean it's not for you. You continue. That's part of pushing through, and eventually you're going to get to that 15 minutes. So keep it up. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. And looking forward to see you next week, Wednesday night. Any questions or feedback are always welcome. You can send them to coachmenachem@gmail.com. And hopefully we'll get to have time to respond. Enjoy your day. Have a good night and a great week.